Hey guys, welcome to the Backlog Podcast, and today you're getting a bonus episode with KawaiiFaceMiles. We didn't get a chance to interview her last time due to technical difficulties, so I pulled her back in. We sat down, talked about Tekken, the FGC, content creation, and what the future may hold. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Well, this is a very, very special episode where we're going to do like just a straight interview with Kawai. And I feel like, because last time we had a lot of technical difficulties with the podcast, and I felt like you told some really good stories and people didn't get to know you. So I just went ahead and I wrote out like 10 quick questions, and you can just give them whatever it is. They're pretty simple ones, but I just want people to get to know who KawaiiFaceMiles is. So I suppose we can start with the easy one. Is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Okay. Hey. Hi. My name is Miles. I go by KawaiiFaceMiles on all social media platforms. I am a Tekken player. I've played Tekken competitively from the years 2015 to 2020 is when I last did a tournament, and then I took a break for a couple of years. I was on E-League. I won E-League with Cuddlecore and Jimmy J Tran, Brawl Pro, and Cody. I have traveled all over the country. I think like my highest placement was final round 2018 or 20. No, it was 20. I think it was 2018. 2018 final round, I got 13th place. That was like the highest I've ever placed. I know, right?
That's amazing.
But I've also created a lot of content. I play other stuff besides Tekken. I play first-person shooters like Apex Legends, and I like a lot of RPGs. And I mean, I don't know. I'm just your average, everyday 30-year-old gaming lady. And and then recently, I have also added another little accolade onto my badge.
Oh, really?
That is, I have officially survived cancer. I had thyroid cancer. It was crazy. It was interesting. You always think, you always know it's something that could happen, but you never know if it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So thyroid cancer, I got all that taken care of. I found out last year on May the 4th. So now I officially don't like Star Wars. I'm just kidding. But other than that, I've worked really hard to get it taken care of, and I finally got the official word that I am under remission. I do have to do one more scan in May just to make sure everything is a-okay, but so far it's looking pretty good.
That's awesome. It's always good to know that you made it into grand finals and you won the game of life. I think that's the most important game you could win. And so, I mean, it's really good to hear that you're in remission. I know when a friend of mine had gotten cancer, it was like, it felt like forever, when you're going through it. And then, once you come out the other side, it's like, that's amazing. So I'm really happy for you that you're hearing the words remission is like probably the happiest you could be at a time, But I have another question for you, and this is something that I was kind of interested in, and I feel like this is an easy layup. But how did you come up with the name KawaiiFaceMiles, and what does it really mean?
Okay, so years ago when I was like learning to play Tekken and stuff like that, I was part of this team, and each of us had like it was like there was a name, and it was called the little like group that we had was called In the Skies, and everyone had like a type of like name to them. So like there was like Huddlecore, she was like Cupcake Skies or something like that.
Okay.
So I did Kawaii Skies because that's usually been like my whole aesthetic and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when I was like competing, it was just Kawaii by itself. And I didn't really like it because I was just like, it's just one note. There's nothing like going on here.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't differentiate itself. There's nothing that I can easily like make it its own thing or make it its own brand by itself. So then I was like, okay, well, I want my name in there so that way like my actual real name is there. So that way if people like want to shorten down my name, what works. And I was just like, all right, cool. So I'll put my name in there. But then I was like, KawaiiMiles doesn't really sound the greatest.
It's not like
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not rolling. It's not rolling. So then I was just like, oh, well, KawaiiFaceMiles sounds really cute. So then I just stuck with that, and then it ended up being its own thing.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a really good name. It's super catchy. It's easy. It's something about like, I don't know, having like three words next to each other. I don't know if there's like a rule of three or something.
It works. It rolls together.
Yeah.
I can always shorten it to KFM. People like to shorten it. They'll either call me Kawaii, they'll call me Miles, they'll call me by my real name. It just works for everyone. It's easily approachable and digestible for like literally anybody to like get into. So I was just like, all right, this works. Like this is a good name that works for me. It kind of describes everything about me. I don't know about my face. I guess that's like subjective thing, but everything else, like it just works out. It works out to like my aesthetic. It works out like I have my name in there, so that way people know like this is who you are. This is Miles. This is Miles's whole little corner of the internet.
Yeah. I can. How about this? For more information, I'm pretty sure you're the only guest we've had on that someone came in and said, "Man, this girl's really beautiful." So that's something. I'm pretty sure the name works out. So there's that.
I appreciate that person.
Yeah. Shout out to them, whoever they are. And sort of like what kind of content do you make? Like I suppose that's sort of like what's your creative process for making that content?
Before I used to have like a huge little gimmick where it was just like, oh, like I was just like, oh, I'm just some like bimbo or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like now as I've like grown up and I've like gotten older and stuff like that, that aesthetic has kind of like faded, but I can't help it. Like it's just part of me. I'm not always the smartest person. I'm not the smartest crayon in the box. Like I'm pretty smart, but I have my tendencies. And I think now like my process with like creating like content, I'm just myself. Like I am more of I think before, because I always look back at my older content, and I used to have a problem where I would compare myself from then and compare myself now, and I'm just like, oh my god, I lost who I am. But it's like, no, like I just grew up. Like the person that I was years ago is not the same person that I am now. And it's like as I got older, I matured a lot, and I've relaxed, I've calmed down, I'm just doing my own thing. And now it's like every time I start streaming or create content and stuff like that, I just go off of like the stuff that I like. Like I just make content that I want to see on my timeline or whatever it is, and then hopefully other people want to see it too and they enjoy it. And like that's literally like my whole process. I don't have anything super big about it, but I would say though that I'm glad that there are a lot of people who do enjoy watching me play games. They enjoy watching me or listening to me talk. They enjoy the stuff that I like to put out, because like, I don't know, it always feels good to be appreciated, especially like when you're putting like you're working to it.
When you're doing your thing.
Yeah, it's always appreciated that people are like, yes, like I love that. I want more of that. And I'm just like, thank you guys. Like you're making me want to do more.
Yeah. And then I suppose, have you always played video games? Have you always like played fighters, or was Tekken like your first fighting game?
I have always played fighters. Me and my brother used to play Street Fighter 2. Mm-hmm. So we played Street Fighter 2 on our Super Nintendo.
Hey.
We've always liked shooters. We played GoldenEye. What else did we play? Gears of War. We got back into fighters with Third Strike. There was times where we would like fall in and out because I was young, he was 8 years older than me, so he was like going through high school and stuff like that.
Right.
I was finding my own niche that I enjoyed a lot, and like I like the RPGs, he likes sports games, but the things that we both like came together on was like fighting games and racing games and shooters. So most of the time we would always like link back up throughout our lifetime with those types of games and stuff like that. So I think it was like Third Strike, we were playing it, and he was like, we got it for PlayStation 2 when it was part of the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection.
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't even remember when it came out. I think I still have it in my bookshelf, but we got that and we played a lot of Third Strike, and then we played and then we stopped playing stuff together. We played Left 4 Dead, Gears of War, and then fighting games. We got back into it with Street Fighter 4 Vanilla.
Ooh, yeah.
And then
I love
that's
Vanilla.
when we started playing more. And then Arcade Edition came out, and that's when I was like, we played all the time, because he would play either Ryu or he played Zangief, and I was playing at the time because Ibuki and them got added. I played Ibuki, and I was like learning how to be better with her and stuff like that. And then that's when I started. That's when it was like the time of playing online and stuff like that. So I was playing online and doing all that, and then we stopped playing a little bit, and then from there I got into like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, and then I played Tekken Revolution on PS3, because I bought myself a PS3, and I played Tekken Revolution, and then I played Tekken Tag 2, and then that's when I was like full on like
you're in
playing Tekken. Yeah, I enjoyed Tekken.
So like, was it just like finding a community of people that sort of, brought you into that realm?
Which realm? Like fighting games, or?
Yeah, like, or was it just, hey, there's a new release of Tekken, I'm gonna go play and learn this game? Or was it like, did you have a local or a community or like some kind of group that you went to or you got into that taught you the ropes?
I spawned completely online, so I was playing like online most of the time. I didn't really know there was like a local community or like a competitive community, and then what was it? And then I found a competitive community in over here in Arizona. So I went to like one of the tournaments and stuff like that, and like I was like, oh, this is really fun. But I was learning from. I started like learning and getting a lot better through friends that I made online. So we would all play online. So usually it was like me, Shadow, Junia, and then we had another friend, Jaquan or Demon, and then they had their other friend Angel, and then we would all play together, and then I would play on PlayStation 3, and that's where I would play with like Cuddlecore, Princess Ling, Beyond. We would all play together, Sour Piggy. We would all just sit and play together. So I started making more friends online.
Yep.
And learning from them. And then finally, when I think what really got me to like go offline and play more tournaments was Evo 2015, which was like the first year. Yep. Tekken 7 was finally, we were able to play Tekken 7 for the first time.
I remember, yeah.
And that was literally the only way you could play it in America, was to go to Evo. So I was like, I have to go because I want to play. So I went, and that's when I played, and then I enjoyed the competitive aspect. So I was like, all right, it's time for me to like, I'm gonna do this.
You're gonna do this, yeah. You're going for it. Yeah, that's funny because I remember I heard about Tekken 7 in 2015, and I was like, man, Tekken 7 has the weirdest release sort of out of like any fighting game I can think of, because it was in Japan forever, and then it didn't come out in the States until like a year or two later.
It was like 2017 is when we got it.
Yeah, so like, it was like, I remember it was just, I'd never seen another fighting game have that struggle to get to the States, and I wasn't quite sure why. I don't remember why, but I remember like I was a huge Tekken fan. I played pretty much every release, but it felt like we were back on the PS2 with like some games that were just, you weren't sure if they were ever going to come out here. Do you remember that? Like with like certain Japanese games, it was like they would be announced, and then maybe like 6 months to a year later, it would either they would say nothing about it, or it just wouldn't, it wouldn't come out. Or they would announce, oh yeah, that's not coming to the States anymore. And so like there's still games, I don't know, I love sort of that era for that reason as well. Not to get on too much of a tangent, but yeah. So Tekken being, this great game, you got into it. You met a lot of really cool people. You learned a lot about Tekken. I think that's rad that you can learn online. I couldn't. I just got like swamped as a kid, and like I couldn't. Like I felt like I didn't know enough to actually play. I didn't have the patience. When I would get too angry. So I think it's really impressive that you'd go online and you'd be like, I got my ass beat, but I'm gonna keep going. And then, of course, meeting all of these great people like Cuddlecore, who is probably one of the best Tekken players in the United States right now, undoubtedly. And then, going through E-League and all that. I think that's really dope. And also, damn, you were in the PlayStation era of Tekken when I
played 360 and PS3. Like I was on both consoles playing.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. So what was it like to you be perceived as the rich kid?
Which one? PS3?
So I believe from Tekken 6 wasn't that only on PS3, or was that the first one that was multi-console?
It was both. It was on both consoles.
Okay, because I remember Tekken
PS2
5 was
on PSP, I think. They did like PS2 and then PSP.
Oh,
they did Dark Resurrection on PSP.
Right.
And then they did 5DR only on PS3.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, I was playing Tekken 5, like so Tekken like 5 and before. You can only play those games by having PlayStation. And then it wasn't. I'm assuming it might have been Tag or 6, where it's like, okay, we're on multi-consoles now.
Yeah, 6 had PS3 and 360, so that's when they started doing multi-consoles. And then after that, it's been multi-console since then.
Yeah.
But I started on both. I started on 360 because I had a 360 to begin with, so I played all my fighting games on 360. And then I bought a PS3 one day. I went to go buy a PS3 and I played PS3 Tekken after that. And then I would just switch back and forth because like there was friends that I had on Xbox that only played on 360 because they didn't have a PS3. Okay. And then I had friends who only had PS3, so I would play with them on PS3. So it was always like I was always switching back and forth. But I mean, I would say at the time 360 was the more active online kind of, like you could join in like party chats and just like talk and stuff like that. But when it came to like the like stronger players and stuff like that, like 360 had stronger players, like they had strong players because I mean Shadow and Junya came from there. But PS3,
also really quick, Junya as in Giuna or GJUN? Yeah,
it's JOONYA. He plays Alisa. He plays Alisa now.
Okay, because like when I hear you say that, I'm like, is that just like, is she trying to say Giuna, like the FGC person, or is it? Because there are other people that have like very similar names to him, so I'm like, is it this person or is it this? Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
No, you're good. No, it's Junya. Junya 20Z and Shadow 20Z. Those two, they were on Xbox, and then I played PlayStation with Cuddlecore and Princess Sling and Sour Piggy, and then me and my friend Jan Flip, we both had PS3 and Xbox, so we would swap back and forth to play with everyone. But then we eventually started just playing only on PS3 because we played with everyone else a lot more than we played with our 360 friends.
That was just where it was at. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the players on PS3 though were a lot of like the stronger competitive players were all there. So like usually you could find everyone else on PS3 and then 360. You know, there was a lot of people who came off of the 360 that are now like big competitive players now, but it's very like far and few between.
It's funny when you hear that because like certain games are so different. Like I remember Street Fighter 4, the better players were always on Xbox 360. And whereas like everyone would shit on the PS3 because PS3 had free online. And most likely, if you had free online, you're probably playing on Wi-Fi, you know? Like, you know, I remember also, you know, so people would say, oh, the PS3 version of Street Fighter has better online. And, you know, it would make sense because also more people had 360s because the PS3 was absurdly priced, and then had that sort of stigma to it at the beginning, just like how the Xbox One had. But yeah, man, it's so interesting how it shifts between generations of consoles.
Now it seems that like Tekken is, I mean, it's more now everyone's like making the switch over to PC, but if you compare the console communities, it seems like PlayStation still has like the stronger community versus Xbox, because I literally rarely see people talk about playing Tekken 7 on Xbox.
I don't see anyone talking about anything on Xbox anymore, man. Like, what is it?
I've had people come into my TikTok streams and they're like, "Oh, are you playing on Xbox?" Because I play on Xbox. I'm like,
right,
dude, no one plays on Xbox. Like, we're done. We don't. Xbox is. It's like the what they call it, like the normie system.
I don't think, honestly, I think in the next few years, Xbox as a console is going to be phased out. I mean, that's a strong prediction, but still, like, it really feels like with the lack of first party content and, they don't have it's not like, side note, they have zero, like, what is it, exclusives. Yeah, exclusivities. Yeah.
Like, all they have is what, Forza and Halo. That's it. Like, they are not continuing on with Gears of War. They're not continuing on with any other like exclusive. I don't even think they had that many exclusives to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's like they're not doing anything to like set themselves apart or even pit themselves a little bit more against PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you guys gonna do? Like, PlayStation has a lot of exclusive now, and like working at GameStop and stuff like that, I always had the same question, like, oh, which one's better, PS5 or Xbox Series X? And I'm just like, if we're gonna look at it straight from like on paper, the Series X outperforms PS5 hands down. But if we're gonna look at it from entertainment like quality and the games that you're gonna get, PS5 has a lot more exclusives versus Xbox. At this point, Xbox is relying on the fact that they're backwards compatible. So they're literally just banking off of older games, where PS5 is like, all right, they're backwards compatible, but they also have a pretty meaty library of PS5 games.
Yep, and I think that what we're gonna find is that, and this is my thoughts on the matter, is that in the next few years, along with the them sort of dissolving as a hardware company, I think they're going to just be more games as a service and sort of like bring everything online. I mean, so it's like, they get the best of both worlds. They become like they could just stay hardware and get like hardware and PC players and sort of, bring them together. And I don't think that they need to compete. They wouldn't need to compete with PlayStation anymore. But even then, it's like, they're still, PlayStation and Xbox Ones are still, you're still getting dated hardware a little bit with like a console. It's not, you can't really, it doesn't perform as well, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. So, I mean, we talked about a little bit about, how you made content. And I'm wondering, now that you're kind of like back from this hiatus, what do you think? Have you kind of had any plans on how your content might change now?
I think right now my content is gonna, I mean, the whole point is like, I'm coming back into this with a more refreshed outlook on everything, because for a time I really didn't enjoy making content at all for Tekken.
Yeah.
But now, like, I love Tekken, the franchise and the game, a lot. Like, it's just one of my favorite franchises ever. I appreciate everything that, the team at Bandai, the team from Bandai, all the work that they put into Tekken. Yep. I appreciate, the stuff that Michael Murray does for, the franchise, and also how he reaches out with our community and interacts with us. Same with Harada-san, the fact that they interact with us and they are invested into the community of Tekken. I appreciate so much what they do, and it's just, this is always going to be one of my favorite top franchise ever. Like, I love this franchise so much.
Same.
So for me to hate doing content for it for a while was more of like a reflection onto me myself. and how much I didn't really like who I was. So now that I'm back, I've taken, quite a few years away to renew myself and everything. And, I'm gonna be doing a lot more Tekken content and just having fun with it. And not putting a lot of pressure on myself and just having fun and engaging with everyone and just playing this game because I love playing this game. And, outside of Tekken, I do want to play other games as well. So like maybe more RPGs. I want to play Apex Legends because I'm always playing Apex Legends. I enjoy that shooter so much. And it's just now that I'm making more content and stuff like that, my focus is gonna always be on Tekken, but also making sure like I'm doing a little bit of shooters, just to keep myself from getting bored.
Going crazy.
It's really easy. It's really easy to get bored if I'm doing the same thing every single day.
Yep. I mean that's a smart plan. But yeah, I totally relate with you with the fun thing, because for me, I'm only starting to pick people I want on the show depending on if I like talking to them. And for example, and I feel embarrassed to say this, but when you came on the show and you talked to me, you're like, I was on E-League. I was like, you were? And it was just because it was more or less like, oh, she's really nice. I want to talk to her. She's an FGC person. I want her on the show. So it really wasn't so much coming from that angle. It was more like, oh, she just seems really nice. I want to talk to her. And really anybody, and that's the perspective, is like, if I'm not having fun, or if I'm not doing things, for the right reasons or for the fun factor, who else is going to have fun? I don't really think anyone is, it's like, how many, have you ever watched the Joe Rogan podcast? The Joe Rogan? No.
I haven't. No.
Oh my God. There's so many episodes where I've seen him just okay, that's really, it's just seems like he's just bored out of his mind. So it's just sort of like that same thing where it's like you just kind of pick up on how people feel. And then I guess, do you have any sort of collaborations or partnerships of anyone that you're kind of working with right now, or you would like to work with in the future?
Okay, so currently I do content for Paragon FGC. Shout out to them because Paragon is probably one of the best orgs I've worked with so far. They have been so understanding and so supportive of me and everything and all the content that I've been doing with them. They've helped me out so much with when I was in dealing with cancer and stuff like that. They've just been so amazing. Yeah. And I think they're one of the best orgs I've ever worked with. They have been one of the orgs that never put extreme amounts of pressure on me, and I really, really appreciate them for everything that they do. But I mean, I would, and now that I'm back into making content, I would like to. I think the biggest thing is I want to work with more. I want to work with more technological brands and companies and stuff like that. So for a while I worked with BenQ, and I would like to either work with them again or work with maybe Yeti.
Not
Yeti, but Blue, the Blue microphone.
Hey, yeah, shout outs to them, right? Yeah.
I love them. Best microphone ever. But work with the Blue microphones, or either a gaming peripheral company. But also now there's a huge number of a lot of I don't want to say just specifically women, but just anyone. There's a lot of people who either are femme presenting, non-binary in that community, who are also into makeup and stuff like that. So I think it'd be really cool to bring in more beauty sponsorships and stuff like that, because I'm really into beauty. I take care of my hair, I take care of my skin, I take care, I wear makeup and all that stuff, and it'd be really cool to help bring in those types of partnerships into a more niche gaming community, because it's I I know some people would be like, oh, well, not a lot of people would care about it, but it's like, no, a lot of people would care about it. And like, it's also good for like boys to also be into like skincare as well, because like, your skin is the biggest organ in your body. Like,
That's
please
true.
take care of it. Like, you have to take care of it. You have to moisturize your skin. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of everything about you.
Yeah.
And
So a lot of people neglect that. Hey man, a lot of you know how it is. I mean, Smash players, they don't wear deodorant, bro. It's a really
it's so sad.
it's a really important aspect of things, and
I think stuff like that, or like even because I collect manga. I read a lot of manga, as you can see. So like maybe even doing like content for like some of the publishers and stuff like that. I know like 7 Seas like partners up with pretty big manga content creators, so that'd be cool to be able to dip into that. I just like doing so much stuff that I'm just like, I'm all over the place, but I feel like I can literally do anything to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean it does, when you really think about it, you do have like a large range of you know, areas that you kind of fulfill and sort of like could help a company represent. And just talking to you with the little that I have, it seems like you sort of already have that area of like, well, you know who you are, you kind of know what you want, and you're able to take that and be like, hey, I can take this on board as a part of who I am. I can sell this for you. And I think that's like exactly what companies are looking for. And you know, yeah, it's true that, you know, females are underrepresented in video games. Not many people really want to watch a dude with a beard, you know, stream a game. If you know, because and so female streamers and, you know, influencers bring that aspect to the table. So I think, yeah, I definitely think other people would love to work with you. So yeah, definitely contact KawaiiFace. So if I've heard you call yourself the original e-girl, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I've got to ask with that, what do you think makes the perfect e-girl then? Like what aspects, what does someone need to do? What does one need to do to be an e-girl?
Okay, you know what?
It's a really important conversation.
I'm gonna give you the tea. I'm gonna give you the 411, the lowdown, everything. All right. So being the perfect e-girl, literally, like there's the physical aspect. So obviously it's the blush. The blush is like the thing.
Okay.
The blush is like staple e-girl, right?
Absolutely.
But being an e-girl is literally a frame of mind. You could be considered e-boy. You could be an e-boy,
sure,
right? Because like, you know, e-boys, they got like the beanies, they got like the beards and
absolutely
all that stuff. You know, the graphic tees, like it's just the aesthetic. It's literally the aesthetic. And like the best way you can push that is like just play off of it. Like play into what other, like, you can see what is very popular and then just use that to like just push yourself. Because like with myself, like I always call myself like the original e-girl of the FGC, because like at the time I was probably one of like the only back in like when Tekken 7 first came out, there wasn't a lot of female streamers for Tekken, and like I was probably like the only one at the time who was doing it.
Right. Okay.
And because of that, like literally I showed that although I don't have the best placements in tournaments and stuff like that, making content is just as smart and lucrative and helpful to you growing as a player and a brand, because I was able to get onto E-League because of it. I was able to secure a lot of stuff off of it. And it's literally, you know, after that, then everyone started streaming. Everyone started doing what I was doing. And I was just like, I'm the blueprint. Y'all just went after it. And you know what? Good for them, because I want more people to understand that like being good at the game doesn't mean shit anymore. It literally does not mean anything. You do not have to, if you're good at the game, that's great. But if you make your whole personality, literally your brand is like gone, because the day that you start losing, is the day that they stop caring.
They stop caring.
If you have nothing else, if you have nothing else to bring to the table, if you don't have a personality, you don't have anything like a type of like aesthetic or brand or anything like that, or any like form of content to help back up like why you should be marketable, like you're done. Yeah. Your career is over as fast as it started. Like, so I would like to joke around and just say I'm like the original e-girl.
The OG.
I'm the OG e-girl, but I'm like old now. I'm a e-grandma now.
You know what? I think I prefer that as a moniker. I think you should just start when you go to tournaments. I don't know, maybe just start using that as your name. KawaiiFace OG e-girl Miles.
I know.
Maybe it'll be a little too long, but still. So
I can always like write a note for the commentators, be like, Shh, can you
just add this in there? Yeah,
just add this in there, add that in there, just let them know.
Like, even if it isn't exactly true, you'll make it into the ethos of like what people believe, and it doesn't matter. I believe it. I mean, you have me as the first believer right here.
There you go.
But to add on to your point of saying like, well, you have to be more than like a content creator or good at a game. It's like, I'm pretty sure Maximilian is a great example of that. You know, someone who's like very sociable, knowledgeable, whatever it may be. But also, I have heard him say things like he started working at a video game company with no experience just because people liked him, and that is unreal when you think about it. In our world, in most people's worlds of thinking like, well, I have to have a degree to do this, and this. It's like not so much anymore. You know, you can, as long as you, what is it?
If you know who to talk to and how to talk to them, you can get anywhere.
Yeah, it's like I've heard something, and I'm gonna misquote this, but it's like, what is it? Style and grace can get places that finesse could only dream of, or something like that. So yeah, it's like there's definitely like a fourth aspect. It's not just skill, and even learning how much goes into streaming now is. And so much more to it than what people think. It's not just, going on and playing games. There are people that have that skill and are successful for a reason. I mean, some people are grandfathered in, but now to set yourself apart, you really have to put time into learning how to do this stuff.
It's super important, especially if like people are like trying to like, make content creation like their full-time job. That's a dream now. So it's just like doing all that stuff, you have to work really hard to like set yourself apart. Because like at this point, Tekken 7, the community and the FGC community has moved so far from when I stopped doing stuff in 2020 to now, to the point where like people are like rediscovering me and they're like, oh my god, like who are you? Like people don't even know. They don't even know anymore because I haven't done anything. So at this point, I'm very fortunate to be able to rebuild myself and kind of sort of rebrand myself and change and strip away, the old KawaiiFaceMiles who was like loud in your face and super obnoxious, into who I am now, into like the more like relaxed, like older person, like I'm just doing my own thing, whatever, like guys, I play games, like whatever, So it's like it's interesting how fast the community has grown, because it's become quite the eye-opener, and I was like, oh man, this is like the best time for me to like hop in again and set my roots down again.
I mean, you could look at it and say like, well, that's one part TikTok, becoming what it is, and then the other aspect is sort of how do I put this? It's like the shelf life of people who stream is very small, because it's like 4 to maybe 8 years. The group of people move on, they start doing other things, and maybe 4 years is generous. Maybe like a year or two, someone's already doing something else. They move on from like watching streaming, or they grow out of it, or whatever. And so it's like it's great, with you saying this, well, I was this then, but that was, now I have like a new lease on life, and, that deal with the devil worked. So So now you get to, try all over again, it's really a beautiful thing. I mean, I think one thing that I really respect in people is the choice to never quit something and to, sort of, okay, well, it didn't work out, or it did work out, but hey, look, I'm still gonna try. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna try again. And I always definitely respect people for doing that, for sure. And I suppose the last question here, and this is a very difficult one. Okay, so the last time you were on the podcast, we did a tier list, right?
Okay.
And I want to say that I felt really bad about it because
I'm scared.
Because
why'd you feel bad?
I felt bad because I felt like I might have been at times I didn't get quite. I feel like I shut people down too much. Did you? Was it?
No. I thought you're fine.
Okay, because I don't know. I asked Quint about it, and he's like, well, maybe you were a little this. Maybe you're a little too controlling about the situation. And so, you know what? We're gonna get a new lease on life. So, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen here.
Okay.
And I want you to correct this tier list. I want you to tell me where you think, and let's say we have S and A+. Where do you think things should be?
Honestly, okay, let me be very straightforward.
Go ahead.
And honest.
Spit.
I think where everything is right now is actually perfect. I think everything is perfect. I still think Guilty Gear Strive should be an S, 100%.
Well, this is the time.
I think it should be an S, and it's 100% for the reasons that I previously stated. Because Guilty Gear Strive, although it hasn't been out for a very long time, that game is an S tier game. It was made with so much love and consideration for the FGC, with implementing its rollback, all these legacy characters coming back. Because at this point, at the time, Guilty Gear Strive has come out and has brought in such a huge new audience to the entire franchise that a lot of anime games just literally cannot do anymore. And I think what it's done is 100% made it an S tier worthy game. All the rest of them, XR2 and all of them, they're worthy of being A+ because they're great. They're worthy of being where they're at, especially XR2. I think it's an A+ game. I think it's great. I think it's great where it is. But I think Strive has easily surpassed it. And it's one of the best Guilty Gears for a reason.
Right. Okay, hold on one second here. I gotta fix something super duper quick because I am the master of ruining things. Hold on. I'm not gonna ruin anything. I just once you bring in the screen share, it will what it does is it actually changes the aspect ratio of the game capture that I have here. So I just need to fix this. So it looks a little strange. But anyway, so all right, now with that, you're saying the only thing you would like to change here is just Strive being in
I think I would also change. I'm gonna take off my rose-colored glasses, and I would probably move Tekken Tag 2 down to B.
Whoa, really?
I would move it to B because it was a great tag.
Sure.
It was a great tag game, but it was also one of the hardest ones to learn. And it was frankly almost the reason why the whole Tekken franchise died. So I think with my personal bias aside, it's a good game muddled with a lot of difficulty. It has a very steep learning curve, and I don't think it's very accessible to just the average player. And I think that's why it should be in B. It's not because it's a bad game. I think it's just a very it was a game for the fans, and that's why it is where it is.
Do you know how many people I was talking to them and they were just like, don't bother learning Tekken Tag 2. And I was like, well, why? And they're like, well, not only that it's just hard, it's just that they're never gonna bring back any mechanics used in Tag 2. So it's never gonna be in another game. So there's no point in learning those skills to carry over to Tekken 7. Though, you know, there's always gonna be that sort of that internet revival of like the Twitter buzz of like, you know, Tag 2 was a great game. It's like, well, where were you in, you know, 20, whatever, what was it, like 2012, 2014? It was before that. It's gonna be like 13 or 12 or something.
It was out for 7 years. It was out for a really long time.
Right.
So it was, or I think it was like 5 years. I'm exaggerating for 5 years. But I think other than that, I think it's everything else is like perfectly where it's at. Okay. Those are the only two that really kept me up at night because I was like, damn. Okay. Well,
so with that, is there anything else that you want to plug before we finish our interview here?
The only thing that I can plug is follow me on all my social media. You guys can find me on everything on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all KawaiiFaceMiles. If anything, I am always streaming on TikTok, which you guys can catch me at with just at KawaiiFaceMiles or TikTok.com/@the KawaiiFaceMiles. And uploading content there regularly, and I do stream on Twitch from time to time. But mostly, I have been very focused on TikTok, and I am catering a lot to it. So you guys can always catch me there.
Absolutely.
And, I'm back, and many people might not be very happy that I'm back in the community, and a lot of people might be rejoicing, and that is great because I am here. I'm enjoying life, and I appreciate everyone who takes the time out to just come in and watch me play, and they have supported me from the beginning, and they are now discovering me now, and they love me because literally I wouldn't be in the position or area of life without them. So absolutely, very, very much thank you to everyone. But
yeah, absolutely.
A lot of me.
And thank you for coming on the show again and doing this with us. If you guys haven't had a chance to, definitely go check out our tier list episode, and obviously catch Kawaii wherever you see her on all her socials. And we'll be back on Sunday with the Backlog Podcast number 44, and I think we're gonna have My Life as an RPG on. So definitely come check that out. All right, y'all. So we will catch you soon. Peace out.
Yeah.
Bye bye.